July business session and church conference. I'm glad you're here tonight. At this time, I would ask Leonard Johnson. Leonard, will you lead us in invocation tonight?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time together. Thank you for the day you gave us. We thank you for each and every blessing that we feel every day. We tonight come here and are grateful for the opportunity to discuss your business, to do what you would have us do for this free passage. Father, we come asking you to do tonight. All those who would love to be here, who cannot be here, who are sick in different situations, we ask for a special healing hand on them, Father. Father, go with us throughout our discussions and our actions, so that we honor and glorify you. And in your holy Son's name, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Leonard. According to our agenda at this point, we are at staff reports. I believe our children's minister is here. Ms. Brown.
All right. So, thank you all for being here. Go back, when we had Operation Inasmuch, not a lot was able to take place, but the children were able to go out to the park, and we were able to meet lots of families out there and kind of get the word going that we were having Vacation Bible School this year, and it was great to meet some new faces that were new to the area. We've also done some ice cream trips and things to kind of stay connected. Our attendance was picking up really good right before summer hit. So now I guess everyone's on their summer beach vacations and all that. So I'm hoping once school gets back and everyone gets back in routine, we'll see that attendance, come back. We're getting really excited for Vacation Bible School. If you have it laid on your heart to be a part of VBS and haven't spoken up, by all means, it's never too late. So come see me. We can get you plugged in somewhere. We're going to do a VBS meeting on the 18th. So right after church service, we'll be meeting, kind of keep it briefly, do a little light luncheon, make sure that we go over everything well, but we're really excited since we didn't get to do VBS last year. We're just got a lot of hope and prayer. This is a great turnout, so we ask that you keep us all in prayer for that. On a side note of VBS, keep Kaylee in prayer. This is their first night of VBS, and they've got over 40 children there tonight. So that is wonderful. Of course, August 1st will be our VBS Sunday. And Wednesday night activities will come back September 8th. We're going to do a children's activity of some sort. I'm trying to get to where most of our families are back together. It'll probably be about the week before school starts. We're going to do a pool party and that kind of kickoff too. But September 8th, we'll do a kickoff night here at church for Wednesday night activities. We'll have our Trunk or Treat Fall Fest. Once I meet with Family Life, it'll be on the 30th or the 31st, so that Halloween weekend. We will have our Fall Fest here at church, and look for more information to come from that. Does anyone have any questions or anything at this time? All right, well, thank y'all.
Devin is on vacation, so I will be giving the report that he sent to me. He said, first, allow me to say how grateful I am to worship with a church family who values and supports the efforts of our music ministry. Our music ministry works hard to glorify God and provide meaningful worship using various avenues of music. Recently, we were honored to share with you the Handball Choir playing Do Lord. The Handbells are taking a break from rehearsals for the summer months and will resume the first week of August. So it's not months, it's just weeks. And if you or anyone you know is interested in joining the Handball Choir, we'd love to have you. You don't have to read music. You just have to be able to see colors. We practice weekly starting in August on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. We will be playing at our homecoming service. Over the past few weeks, I have heard the best news. There are several in our church who are thinking of joining our choir, and I'm so excited about that, and I hope that they do. The choir is a pillar of our worship service and a great way to get more involved with the church. We work on worship anthems weeks in advance of upcoming services and discuss how they will relate to the sermon. A great way to jump into our music ministry is coming up in just a few weeks. On Saturday, July the 24th, will be our third Christmas in July. where we will be introducing our Christmas cantata. While planning for our cantata theme for Advent, it hit me, and I'm so excited to share with you. Each Sunday, we end our worship by saying what? We are the light on the hill, we are the light of the world. Well, this gave me the idea for our cantata, the light of the world from the light on the hill. Join us Saturday, July 24th at 9 a.m. for Christmas in July, with lunch following at 12 noon. Again, thank you for your support of our music ministry, and I look forward to worshiping with you every Sunday. Any questions? July 24th. So that is a big, July 24th. So Christmas in July is a big workshop that the choir does. It's just for the choir and those who will be singing with the choir. So if you come and you want to sit out here, they'd love to see your encouragement, but it's really not designed for people to come. It's for the choir to get their cantata. And so the first thing that they do is they get their books that has the cantata, and then they begin to sight read through it for the first time. So it's just kind of a big kickoff and gear up toward cantata, and they're able to spend several hours, from like 9 that morning to noon, working specifically on the cantata for Christmas. That way, before you know it, it'll be November, and then everybody's freaking out. We don't know the cantata. So that way it kind of helps everybody really get a good jump start on it. And that way, as they're practicing every week and preparing for their anthems, they also kind of split their time with preparing the cantata as well. So that just allows everybody to kind of have a greater level of confidence and familiarity with it. So if you Devin always welcomes folks. If you can't commit to choir practice and do it on a weekly basis, then they'll take you just for the cantata if you want to come that way too. But all right.
Can we come back to Christian when he decides to get here? Yeah. All right, good. Yeah, let's just really work him up one time. See if we can get him the color of Chris's shirt. What better way to teach him promptness than let him be turning red on the internet where 100 zillion people's going to see it? Okay, a few thousand. This time we're going into a time of committee reports. Committee reports are going to start with the Family Life Center. It's how many of you have actually been able to get in there and enjoy an activity in the Family Life Center? Was that not fantastic? Very nice, very nice. Ken, do you have any updates from Family Life Center?
The only thing that we have at this point is we need to start working on two things. One is the landscaping. Two is the repositioning of the playground equipment, because tutoring will start this fall.
Got it. All right, the two things that Ken mentioned about the Family Life Center is we have to work on landscaping, and we really need to do some work on repositioning the playground equipment, because come fall, we will start up after school tutoring again, and we'll need to have somewhere for the kids to go. And I'm pretty certain that by the fall, our kids are going to want to play on it as well. Actually, that is one item that one of our deacon subcommittees is working on, and that is repositioning that. So that is not coming up today. That's the discussion we're having on the 20th. And then we should have another report sometime by the middle of August, at least before the pastor takes a hiatus. We should have some answers for you and some locations of where it should go. We've got some on paper already, no pun intended, but now we have to ask the important things. Are there lines under here? Are there water under here and things like that before we go digging and trouncing around? But thank you for that.
We will be doing some punch work in about a week and a half. Just leave everybody's off.
Sure.
There's a couple of things that we need to get back with Anderson, Alexander Design Bill to come back and look at. If you haven't noticed, they replaced the two columns in the back part of the facade, because they weren't happy with them out there
So we're still working on punch list. The 2 columns in the back have been done, and we expect the punch list to be close to being done in 7 to 10 days. Lovely. Any other updates or questions on Family Life Center? Yes, Melissa.
I mean, if it doesn't happen, it won't affect VBS at all. It's just weather stripping here and this and that, and the other that needs to be tweaked.
So it's not prohibitive for any activities. Excellent. Landscaping, is that private company or is that volunteer work? Okay. Well, just making sure, got to get that out there on the interwebs. Tentative date for that? Too hot right now? It is July in the South. We'll blame that on the mosquitoes. I do have an update in your packet, everyone, on page 4, on the page, I think page, about page 5 through about page 11. You'll notice there is a copy of a draft for the Family Life Center use form. Many thanks to Lynn Johnson for putting this together and starting this. She and a group in our policies and procedures team put together a fantastic draft. Deacons have gone round and round a couple of times. We've had input from other members as well. What you have is what we hope to be the final draft. We're not going to go over it line by line today. Take it home with you. Look at it. When you see errors, questions, comments, or improvements, please send them to me. Then we'll send those on to Family Life, for the policy and procedure group to complete this and get this presented to us for a document to be voted upon. Kind of timely. Would love to get this done by the time we get to the fall. Simply put, we want to use the facility ourselves. Leonard, let me get this right, Ken. We want to use it for ourselves prior to the November kickoff, and then after that, we'll use it for outside church use. Is that still correct? All right, lovely. So take a look at that at your leisure. I highly recommend doing that right before you go to sleep. It will put you out because, lest you forget, I did some changes to it. Questions or comments on the guidelines for the Family Life Center?
You talking about the document?
Yes, ma'am.
The one thing, I was toward the end on page 5, and we have these, what happened to the AV? That was in there.
Yes, ma'am.
And it just say, be determined or something like that.
We took AV out from our activity. They have to provide their own. That's not something we're going to get into right now. First of all, we don't know when we're going to have our system fully put in. I'm sure it'll be before we get to the point of using it, but we also don't want anybody else using our stuff until we get a chance to use our stuff ourselves. So that way, if they have a DJ or if they have something like that, they can bring their own stuff. At some point in the future, we may do that, but for the short term, not worth the effort, particularly as expensive as that stuff is right now. Good question. Thank you. Magnify. Any updates from the Magnify? Is anybody here from Magnify team? I don't think anybody's here from Magnify team. Reverend, anything on Magnify?
I think it's going well. We've got the updates in the bulletin.
Sure.
It's regularly ticking up. We are now, if you look on the sun there on our Magnify artwork, you will see we are now past the 220,000 mark, and once we get up to near the 275 mark, we can light up that next column of lights. We're working our way very steadily, so that's encouraging.
Patsy, how many leaves do we have left?
64.
64 leaves left. 64 leaves. 64 leaves.
And when Lord, we need to purchase one.
Apparently, if I remember what Ken told me, there's still 250 and 2 for 500. So let me know if you're interested. Currently, they're on sale. You buy 2, get 2, and apparently you get all the lettering you want that'll fit on that piece of metal. Good. Finance, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. When you turn to page number 2, you'll begin to see our information as of May 31st. We do have all of our spending for June and for the first half of the year. What we don't have is a report that has been fully balanced yet. Quite honestly, we still haven't gotten a couple of receipts, and we haven't gotten a couple of reports. Paula checked in with me today. That's not true. I checked in with Paula today to see how we're doing. She should have that probably by Friday. Unfortunately, she couldn't have it for today. So we have May's report. We've gone over these a couple of times before. I'm going to jump right to the end of it. For the month of May, we collected $33,047, and we spent $22,928. So we had a receipt over disbursement of $10,000. For the month of May and January through June, we had $36,000 above receipts. That does not mean we have $36,000 to spend. If you recall, many of our costs and many of our receipts that we have don't come in until after July. So if you look at what we know we still have to spend, we're just a little bit ahead, so we're still in the black. But going into July, being in the black is actually pretty darn good news. All right, questions or comments? And please don't be shy. I'm just not going to bore you to tears with all the areas. As I looked through it, nothing seemed outrageous. Nothing seemed overly spent. The things that are underspent are supposed to be underspent, and everybody's turning the lights off on time, and everybody seems to be doing what they can to save costs here and there. Reverend, anything on that one? We do want to have a report from Finance to go over a little bit more on the loan. I believe Furman might have an update for us. Furman, is this a good time for you, sir?
Before I get into the details of the loan and the expenses on the Family Life Center, just to jump back in finance just a minute, you should be receiving in the next little bit something that we have typically not done at Neill's Creek, and that's send out a mid-year contribution report. So now that we're halfway through the year, Paula has pulled a contribution list and report for all the contributions through June 30. And we have also included in that mailing, it'll be on a separate page, just an update of where anyone that made a faith promise to the Magnify campaign, exactly where you are. It's not to say that you're ahead or behind. I know this is a 3-year process, but it'll just tell you, according to our records, you've given this amount and you've got this much left to fulfill the rest of your pledge. To just give you an idea of where you are with that. Nope. This is just strictly for the Magnify campaign. Strictly for the Magnify campaign. And the total given through the Magnify campaign as of this past Sunday is $230,975.23 out of a little over $411,000 commitment. So we're over halfway with the satisfaction of those faith promises, which is outstanding to only be in it as short a period of time as we have. Wanted to go through, because we had not done this since the building was completed, and we had finally paid everything on the building. So I wanted to give you an update of the total cost of the building. There are a couple of things that are still outstanding, and now I will go through those and tell you exactly where we are with the loan and how things are going. Some of these numbers will be redundant. We've been over them before, but just wanted to give you a full report of where we are. Welcome, Reverend Justice. Glad you could be with us tonight. The Family Life Center project, obviously we started with an architect, and then we moved forward with there after we got the preliminary plans. So between the architect, the civil engineer, all the design work, that expense was $40,425. We entered into contract with Alexander Design Build to construct the building of $786,907. We subbed some of that work out ourselves so that we could get it done cheaper, primarily the site work. So we actually paid Alexander Design $656,802.42, which is about $130,000 under what his contract was. We had some change orders that came about during construction, as it always does. Those totaled $13,328.50. We entered into contract with Ricky Temple, RLT Grading, to do the site work, pour the pad. No, I'm sorry, Alexander poured the pad. Basically, he did all the site work, all the utility work for us. That contract was $100,466. Of course, once you get into construction, then you realize there were things that weren't accounted for in the contract, things that were missed. So we ended up with RLT Construction. There was an additional $25,341 that we paid him. Things such as running the water line and the sewer line to the street so that we could have water and get rid of the sewer. We ended up, of course, we had to relocate the lift station when we had to reposition the driveway. There was no way or nothing in the contract to allow us to put any type of communication in the building. So he ran an underground conduit from this building to the other. The contract did not call for putting basically tying the gutter downspouts so that all that water we could funnel it where you wanted it to go rather than running out both sides of the building. Things like that are the total of the $25,000 to Ricky Temple. The county has a water and sewer development tap fee, which was $5,435. The appliances, including the ice machine, was a total of $20,398.47. Stained glass windows, $8,946.57. Table and chairs, $13,005.61. Fire alarm system, $64.53. Security system was $1,400. The concrete was $41,437.50. We had landfill fees where we tore down the garage building. It was $300. Closing costs for the loan of $4,469.50. Survey fee of $431.25. And the things that are pending, we had accounted for in the original contract about $10,000 to put in the AV equipment. The AV team suggested we do some type of portable system, and that's their estimated cost. And they got a quote, which if any of you have been in there, you know sound bounces very well in that building, to get a quote for some acoustical tiles. That quote came in at $18,000. So we took a draw from the construction loan for the $28,000. We have those funds in place whenever we do that work. Ricky Temple is going to come back in on the back end where the water has run across the concrete. It's washed the fill, particularly on the east side. He's going to do some fill and touch that up. We've had a contribution of some sod to put around that to keep it from washing that we can install. And we anticipate that the cost to run the phone line and the internet in from this building is going to run about $1,000. So to my knowledge, that's the total amount of the expenses, which came to $972,145.88. Due to your generosity and the generosity of everyone, we have rolled the permanent loan, or the construction loan, into the permanent loan for a total of $506,350.34, which is $193,600, round figure, $650 less than we had projected to borrow and were authorized by the church to borrow at the $700,000 level. So we've come in just a little under $200,000 under what we expected that we were going to have to borrow, which I think is wonderful. Currently, we have $99,890, round figures, in contributions from the Magnify campaign and contributions to the Family Life Center, which we will use to reduce the principal of the debt. And per the budget, we will begin making monthly payments on this note beginning July the 28th of this year. And we had budgeted so that we could do our part to be debt-free in a decade, in conjunction with your continued generosity through the Magnify campaign and your continuing contributions. That payment will be $3,281.67 a month. I went through that hurriedly, as you know. Any questions, comments, discussion? We did want to get this information out to you so you could know exactly what we've got in the building, what the expenses were, and where we are with the loan. So now we get to do the fun part, and that's pay it back.
So is that loan payment, is that what we budgeted for this current budget year that we're in, or is that more or less? Or?
No, that's what we budgeted because we anticipated that we were going to have that rolled over before the first of the year. So what we've done is basically we've had to pay interest only monthly, which came out of that budget line item, but was not the full payment amount that we were anticipating. Really? You tell me I talk fast. Yeah, I'll give you one that I don't have notes all over. Larry, you saying you'd like a copy for the minutes? Okay.
First, we just remind everyone that August has 5 Sundays, so we'll have another 5th Sunday on the 29th.
Okay. And for those of you who couldn't hear, August is another 5th Sunday month. So on the 29th, we'll have another 5th Sunday offering that will go. It was in May. I want to say it was 3,000. It was a little less than what it has been, but I think it was 3,000, 3,500, somewhere along in there. Thank you very much.
This time, it's my honor and privilege to introduce Christian Justice. He's our youth minister and our outreach minister, associate pastor. And he's so busy, he rolled in shorts and tennis shoes.
That's it. That's why.
Because I'm so busy. Thank you, everybody, for the warm welcome. You sure do know how to make a young boy feel loved. Man, so to be honest with y'all, I'll try and make this quick, but I'm genuinely super excited about where our youth group is right now. And that is in part due to you guys. I mean, with your support, with the support of our church, allowing us to go to Passport. Got back Saturday night. We have a few of our chaperones in here tonight, and I hope you'll ask them kind of what their experiences were as well. But, you know, on my end, you can always do as much planning as you think is humanly possible to get ready for the trip. And then inevitably, all these things occur that you did not plan a single bit for. And yet, while that was very much true last week, now reflecting on it, I can say with certainty that God worked in the lives of our youth. Man, am I excited about it. Whether it was seeing our youth kind of expand beyond their little clique or their own personal bubble to speak with people from other youth groups, but also to form and develop relationships with folks that they might not have otherwise within our own youth group. That was just a blessing to see, whether it was through a lot of laughter or a lot of tears. It was just such a blessing to get to grow and do life with them for a week and see ways that God was working in their lives. And, you know, this is no exaggeration. I kid you not, whether it is like me having some counseling or really just listening sessions with the youth and hearing them tell me their own stories. I mean, till one night, 2:30 in the morning. I mean, that's no exaggeration. At some point then, I was like, man, am I tired? But then I thought about it a little more and I said, nah, this is exactly why I'm here. And I just love every bit of it. And I'm so thankful for what God did there. And I'm super excited to be able to build upon that kind of spark. Man, I'm super excited for what's going on in our youth right now. So you'll hear a lot more over the next few weeks about our experience at Passport. Hopefully this week we're going to have kind of a short, maybe summary recap videos that we're going to post to our Facebook page of some of the youth, just giving like little 30-second blips of some experiences they've had. And then our Youth Sunday, it's going to be September 12th, I want to say, this year. And so you'll hear a lot more about it then. But super excited for that stuff. And y'all know, I mean, we've got a pretty full calendar with just random activities and events from now until the end of the summer, but maybe a few of particular note that I'm excited about. This time next Wednesday, hopefully we're not going to be taking any trips to the ER, hopefully, but we are going to be having a slip and slide night. And so I bought huge tarps, a bunch of baby shampoo, and we're going to load those suckers up. We're going to be playing water slide kickball at one of our youth houses or in their land, and that's going to be a ton of fun. I'm excited about that. We have another day trip to the beach planned later this month on July 24th on a Saturday morning. We'll wake them up early, get back late, just spend a day at the beach. We're excited about that. And then early August, the first weekend in August, our very own Sarah Lemons. I'm actually going to give her kind of the keys to the youth group for the week. And even though I'll be there, she's taking a major role in helping organize a rafting trip where we're going to be going into the mountains and staying overnight there. And again, hopefully no trips to the ER, but I think it's going to be a blast. And we've got other stuff going on this summer as well, whether it's worship nights with other youth groups or just trips to get ice cream. And really, I will take off, even though it's kind of impossible, but if I can take off my youth minister cap for a moment and just have me, Christian, tell you guys, our youth group is awesome. By no means are we perfect. We're still working through all sorts of stuff as our youth group has grown over the past few months and trying to figure out how to navigate having a lot of different youth at a lot of different spiritual levels is interesting, but taking on that challenge is something I absolutely love, and hearing their hearts and what they've been through and how God is working in them. I mean, there's nothing else I'd rather do. So anyways, thank you guys for your continued support. And if you have questions, comments, anything, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll sit down and not leave, so you don't need to clap again. But anyways, thank y'all.
We are blessed. Yes, we are.
We're back on track now. Thank you, Christian. A lot of activities coming up in the life of the church. Not only is the pastor going to take his well-earned sabbatical, but as you know, it's time to start budget process. Come the fall time, it's time to start our annual committee drive, and so just be cognizant of those things. That being the case, let's go into our regular committee reports. Are there any other committees that wish to be heard tonight, or any reports or any things we need to know? Lee, are you on the, are you on membership? I mean, I'm sorry, committees and all that? Nominating, is that what it's called now?
Yes, we have had one meeting and we're meeting again tomorrow night, so at this point, we don't know what we need, but we're definitely.
Okay. And if I'm correct, if you get a phone call for Lee, just say yes and hang up.
Exactly, and that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Just say
Just say yes
yes.
to VBS and Lee. Other committees, other subcommittees. Excellent.
Yeah, we've already planned our next community walk, and we've also set our date for August. 15th? Yes, right. So we are ahead of schedule in our planning. Christian is our leader. He's doing an excellent job.
Visitors lunch is 8:15?
Yep.
That's correct, yeah. And community walk, is that the 18th? July 18th, yeah. 8, 29, 21. All right, very good. Thank you. Any other reports? Sunday school, very good.
Numbers on Sunday school, for January through June, average is about 62. If you throw December in there through June, it pull it out to 57. So we'll just say for 2021 through June, about 62
Excellent.
average.
How are our small groups going? I know we got some small group teams here.
Then you got the small group.
Yeah, yeah. So that's fantastic news.
I think this is the right number. We tallied up a couple weeks ago how many people we had in total participate in small groups. And I want to say that number was 72.
Excellent.
For the first round, I think we're all pretty pleased with that.
All right, so let me do that for the benefit of the folks online. Sunday school average January to June has been 62 per Sunday, and small groups has been 72 so far. Excellent. Any other committee reports? Any other subcommittee reports? Any old business to come before us tonight? If you're awake, raise your hand. Any new business tonight? That being the case, Reverend, would you like to?
Yeah. So the deacons, as you all may or may not know, but we break ourselves into small groups each year. We've done that for the past 2 or 3 years and work on sort of special ministry or church projects. This year, myself, Glenn Johnson, and Leonard Johnson, we are charged with the Sabbatical, do we have a name? Sabbatical Planning Committee. So as part of that process, we've been meeting on and off for the past probably 4 or 5 months, I would say, weekly or almost weekly, with the 3 of us, Pastor Chris, Pastor Christian, and also Dr. Childs, that will be our interim during that period. what we have been primarily focused on for the past few weeks is coming up with so Pastor Chris at the beginning of the year shared with us his personal goals for the sabbatical period, but we have been coming up with church goals as well, and we've come up with 3 goals, and I'm just going to mention the first one that I am sort of being the ringleader for, and that is, sure. Mm-hmm.
For those who may want this information, it will be presented again before the whole church on Sunday morning, 25th of July. You'll have it in writing or in the bulletin, so that way you don't have to feverishly write all this
Right.
down. It's going to be said. This is just kind of a trial run.
Is it also in the in the newsletter as well?
It's not
Okay.
July.
Okay, gotcha.
We'll get it in August.
All right. Earlier this year, I think it was February, on our deacon retreat, the diaconate, we spent a Saturday over at Camp Agape, and as part of that process, we went through a book called Flickering Lamps. I don't know if any of you all have had the opportunity to read that, but you'll be hearing more about that during the sabbatical period. And it is focused on church revitalization. So we plan to use that book as a way to carry out a visioning process for the church during the period when Pastor Chris is on his sabbatical. We will be going through that study. I believe Dr. Childs and also Christian will be preaching a sermon series from that book during the sabbatical period, and we also want to form some small groups that we will be able, and the primary focus of that is to get the visioning from the church, where we see the church going, what the church may be doing well, what we may want to see ourselves going for the future. So there will be more to come for that. There will be books available. If anybody would like a book now, I think the church is going to provide copies to any interested person that wants one. They will be available. I would encourage you. It's a very challenging and sobering book, and also it's very inspiring about a ministry that took place in Canada about 20 years ago, I believe, by Henry Blackaby, when he moved his family from a very, I would say, a affluential church in California in the San Francisco Bay Area up to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in Canada, which that's the middle of nowhere, in case you didn't know. So he talks about the saga that his family and the ministry that really came out of that experience for the church and his family. And, one of the things that I would ask you all to be thinking about and praying of is not where we see the church going, but where is God calling? Not necessarily Neill's Creek Baptist Church, but the church in general. Where God is calling us for this next generation that we'll be going into. So that is about all I have on that. All right.
I heard Furman mention the sound reverberating in the Family Life Center, and I couldn't help but think back several years when I was in a large building with a fellow who was on a committee that was charged with the responsibility of building that building, and he had a deep and booming voice, and he took me in and showed me around a little bit, and he looked up and he said, sound is really a problem for us. The agnostics in here are terrible. I've been delegated the responsibility of talking a little bit about a second goal for the church during the upcoming time of sabbatical leave. That deals with church health evaluation. This was in Chris's letter. It'll come to you again in writing for the July 25th service, but just as Chris is making a part of his sabbatical exercise to involve questions of health or issues of health or thoughts about health, it's an appropriate time for the church to look at its health while he's away. There are a number of things that we've talked about. That's sort of an evolving agenda for us and for the church. All of us will have further input. All of you will have an opportunity for further input. So we welcome your thoughts and your ideas. But basically what we're talking about is taking this time to evaluate and to assess the health and ministry of the church and the congregation. It's easy sometimes for any group, any organization, even a church, to drift into what's routine, what we're accustomed to, or what we're comfortable with. And sometimes it's subtle and it's not really noticed or acknowledged by church leadership or the congregation. So having a fresh set of eyes or a fresh opportunity for existing eyes to take a look at where we are, what we're doing, how we can do better, things we may need to do differently, or to reemphasize and reaffirm the things which are working so well for Neills Creek Baptist Church. This is a chance to do that. I went back and looked a little bit at what another church had done. This is by no means a template for us. It's by no means a list of things that we should consider, should not consider. It was just instructive for me in looking at what someone else had done. And not during a time of sabbatical, but during a time of introspection for that church, they looked at a number of different things. One was membership trends. They looked at what was going on with membership. A second was worship attendance, and that, of course, has been impacted by COVID. Now we're looking at perhaps evolving into something that is more predictable and routine, but still uplifting and spiritually aggrandizing for our congregation. Giving patterns, that was another thing that they looked at closely. They also looked at, do we represent the community that we serve? Our community is changing. Their community was changing. And they wanted to look at, did they represent the community they served? They looked at discipleship activity. They looked at missions. And they looked at the statistical hard, cold facts that they characterized as transfers in versus transfers out. So as we approach this time, we welcome again your input. We're grateful for your participation. We appreciate your thoughts, and we very much value your prayers. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I've been asked to talk about church family just a little bit. That's our final goal, deals with church family. And I'm going to just read you one statement. It says, the final goal for this sabbatical period is to keep our congregation, and these are the two words I just love to sort of hang on and lead with and remember, united and engaged. If we don't do anything else for these 13 weeks that Chris has gone, if we maintain unity and engagement, and I would like to say increase, not just maintain, I think we will have accomplished a lot. I thought about this when I read this. It would be Chris is going off, Melissa, to try to rejuvenate, rebuild, refresh, whatever words you want to call it. But the goal is that they will come back a stronger and even better ministry team, personally and professionally and for the church. Wouldn't it be a shame if they came back to a church who had gone the other way? That would be a shame, and God would not be honored in that. So I started thinking about that. I said, that's not really any different. What happens in a family? Let's forget Neills Creek for just a minute. What happens in your family when one member, for whatever reasons, maybe sickness, maybe just temporary absence, gone somewhere else to do something else, is not there? What do the other family members do? They pitch in. They step up. They take on and share responsibilities. They do different things. I've seen that happen. I know you haven't many, and I'm thinking back to some of the stories my daddy told me, because back in those days, families generally were a lot larger. Like he had 8, there were 8 in his family. I remember him talking about many times on the farm, somebody couldn't do this. So what did the others do? They pitch in, they cover it. Come back to Neills Creek. That's what it's going to be about for 13 weeks. But one of our members, 2 of our members, excuse me, Melissa, you are being involved, I'm sorry. 2 of our members, even though he's our pastor, are not going to be actively involved in the church. So what's it incumbent upon us to do? Step up. Step up, and we're not going to jump up and go to preaching. I sure am not. That's Christian business. But we got things we can do to make sure that the church stays really engaged and really unified. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to agree. I always love to differentiate between the word unity and agreement. We can be unified and still have different opinions. And that'd be great. Come back. What if we came back and found out the COVID people who haven't returned yet, a bunch of them had come back? That'd be a nice gift to the pastor, and if we want to think about it that way, but more if it's a gift to God to come back and find out, well, we actually had 85 in Sunday school. That's my thoughts. Think about it. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'm the only thing standing between you all and dismissal. So I will try to make this brief. I do have a written report for you to look at. So I will not regurgitate all of that information, just try to hit the high points. First of all, just in the way of some prayer topics, let's remember the nominating committee and all the good work that they are doing, trying to pull together our ministry teams here and getting all those bases covered. Let's remember all who have already been in the path of Elsa and all who, like ourselves, remain in the path of that storm. I ask that you would just lift up a prayer for Cuba. The storm did go across eastern Cuba. We have no idea the exact nature of the damage. We're not led to believe that it was anything catastrophic or anything of that nature, but that is the area where our mission team has been before. And we just want to remember all of those folks in prayer, as well as all along the East Coast who will be feeling effects from that in the next few days. We want to continue to lift up Kaylee Brown in our prayers. She has gotten to Mexico, and as Nikki shared, they're setting up. They're starting their vacation Bible school, so just continue to pray for her protection and safety, and that God will use their efforts to really bless those children there, and that they're able to do fruitful and fulfilling ministry and see God move there in a big way. Let's also remember the Stewart family. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of Carrie's passing, so we want to remember Susie and Angie and Carol, that whole family, in our prayers. So we know it's a sensitive, tender time for them. Also remember Jim Dees. He's been having some issues with his feet and legs, and he had to go to the hospital today to have that checked out. And so just want to lift up Jim in prayer as well. Also want to just rejoice with Miss Faye Johnson. Today is her 93rd birthday, so we are happy about that. And when I called her on the phone, they were taking her to dinner. So she was going to celebrate her birthday dinner there at Oak Hill. They were not taking her outside, but taking her to dinner there at Oak Hill. Just to remind you, for this Sunday, we do have the Lord's Supper, and we will be back to our normal way of serving that and celebrating that. So after, I think this is the first time since January of 2020 that you don't have to bring your own communion elements. We'll have it here and have it set up, and it's going to be a special service. Always enjoy when we can come to the table of the Lord and celebrate that together. I think you've already heard a number of things about upcoming events, but I'm going to try not to duplicate any of that. In the way of worship services, we just concluded a wonderful stewardship series using the book The Treasure Principle by Randy Alcorn. So that was great. And then we've had a great God and Country Sunday last Sunday. And now we're going to, as I said, have Lord's Supper this Sunday. And then as we work through the month of July, I'm going to be preaching some messages that kind of help our church now focus on and prepare for the sabbatical period as we draw near to about a month away from that, me going on sabbatical. That'll help us through that. We're also going to have some special time to really celebrate Vacation Bible School, because again, since we were not able to do it last year and this year, we really want to just pump that up and be ready for that. And so on July the 25th, which is that is the night that VBS will start. That morning, we're going to have a special prayer service here as a part of our worship service, and we're really going to just pray over Bible school, pray that God would use it, pray that God will save children and youth that week and adults too. And then the following Sunday, August 1st, will be when we celebrate and the children sing their songs for us, and we really look back and rejoice in what God did through the week of Vacation Bible School. I will tell you, we are going to be making a church bus available. So if you know of a neighborhood where there are some children that need a ride, please let us know, because we're going to be trying to go into some of these neighborhoods and hopefully busing some of those children in this year and taking advantage of our church bus. It's got a brand new set of tires on it, and it's got cold AC, and so it's ready to go. It's a resource. We want to use it for God's glory. Then you will see the kind of the calendar of some upcoming things there in the final quarter of this year, as I've got the worship calendar there, and who's going to be preaching each Sunday. Again, Youth Sunday will be on the 12th. We will have deacon ordination tentatively, that is planned for the 29th, after we have deacon election on Sunday the 8th of August. If we have newly elected deacons that have never been ordained before, then the tentative plan is for deacon ordination to be on the 29th. But in all of these things, there's kind of some notes there, and I always say have a plan, but hold it with an open hand. Let it be fluid and flexible, because things may change. By now, you may have already heard us allude a little bit to the fact that Homecoming Sunday is going to be on a different date, and I know in a Baptist church, that's about as close to a cardinal sin as you can possibly have, is trying to move the date of homecoming. But here's our thinking in that. The deacons discussed this at length. And they wanted to have, we knew we needed to have a time to dedicate and celebrate the Family Life Center, and really, even though we started using that, just really have a true ceremony to dedicate that to the Lord. We knew that my first Sunday back would be November the 21st, and that would be a day of celebration and a time that we wanted to really rejoice in me being back from sabbatical and have some time together to catch up. And we knew that was exactly 1 month after when we would normally have Homecoming Sunday. And so trying to have two different events 1 month apart that would both involve a meal after service, we said, doesn't it, the old saying, won't you work smarter instead of working harder? And we just thought it made sense, even though we do hate to divert from tradition and break from that third Sunday in October. We just felt like that we would get a better turnout, and it would just kind of help add to and in no way take away from the celebration of homecoming, to move that back 1 month to November the 21st. So that's what we're going to do just for this year only. We're not moving that in perpetuity, just for this year only. That's what we'll do. So Homecoming Sunday will be the 21st. We'll have our lunch in the Family Life Center, and then have our dedication ceremony as a part of that. And so we have just started really making plans for that in earnest, and just really started in on that. And then after that, on the 28th of November, it will be the beginning of Advent. We'll have Hanging of the Greens. So we'll be getting ready, and the countdown for Christmas will begin. So that just gives you kind of a broad overview of things that will be taking place over this last quarter of 2021. Any questions on that as far as upcoming worship services? Okay, looking at our church report, Glenn just made reference to those that are coming in the body of Christ, and those that may be leaving us in various means. So just to review our membership records, we did add 2 new church members by way of baptism in this last quarter. That was Sophie McLean and Ashley Bliven, who were both baptized on May the 2nd. And then we had some members join us by transfer of their membership from other churches. That was Tommy and Linda Stewart, and then Miss Betty Connell. And then we lost one member to death, which was Miss Betty Williams, who passed recently. And we want to continue to remember Larry and that family in our prayers. And then we had one member who transferred out, and that was Kat to the Shepherd's Church, formerly Colonial Baptist there in Cary. So the good news is that since the beginning of the year, we have had 11 new members to join our church and become part of our family of faith. So that is wonderful. We rejoice in that and celebrate that. And what God is doing. Just on our church goals for the year, I'm going to try to give you a very quick update on each of these goals. So the first goal being the plan to renovate our old fellowship hall and the playground. And so you've already heard we're still working on that, having another meeting on the 20th of this month with the Building and Maintenance Committee and still working on chipping away at that, bringing that together. Again, the goal is not for us to have that project completed by the end of this year by any means. It probably, with the exception of the playground part of it, as Ken mentioned, we'd like to go ahead and have that done so that the tutoring program and that our children's ministries and other programs can use that certainly this fall. And the good news is it does look like we are going to be able to resume the tutoring program and re-engage with the Campbell students and everything. So keep that in your prayers as well. Then for the small group ministry, and I'll let Pastor Christian, if he wants to chime in on this, we did that for the months of April and May, and then all of our groups are taking a break for the summer, but we had a follow-up with the small group host and facilitators, and we talked, I think, for over an hour and just had fantastic reports of how people grew closer together, how there was just deep and rich sharing and learning and building community. And I think that, again, everybody that was a part of it said, it was something that they really would want to continue to see happen. So in the fall, when we resume small groups, it'll be for September and October. And I don't know, will they go into November? Maybe a little bit, but I can't remember the exact. But again, thinking about that, roughly an 8-week window, somewhere between an 8 to 10 week window for those. And those will be based on the book Flickering Lamps, because again, you're going to be hearing it preached from the pulpit. Copies are going to be made available, and we want people to have a chance to engage with other Christians and have time to discuss this book. There may even be some Sunday school classes who utilize that in their Sunday school curriculum during that time, because we just believe that it'll be a very powerful way that God will challenge our church and also speak to our church and guide us into the future that He has for us. So we're grateful to everyone who really started and help us launch that first charge of small groups, and we look forward to seeing that continue and seeing some of those groups multiply and expand, because that's our goal, is to continue to see more people be reached, not only people inside our church but really outside of our church. And I think, I don't have the exact breakdown, but I think roughly, and as best I can remember, I would say probably a fourth of the people, out of those 72 people, at least a quarter of those were not Neill's Creek Church people, or members, or people that even attend church here regularly. So we see just a lot of fruit and possibilities for outreach and reaching our community through that. Through our third goal on prayer emphasis, really the focus to that has been twofold. We've had our church staff has been leading us in devotions that have been posted more or less weekly. We may have missed a week here or there, but we tried to do that about weekly, a prayer devotion for you. Certainly, we've got some special prayer services that are coming up, the one for a Vacation Bible School, and then on August the 15th, my last Sunday before I go on sabbatical starts the next day, we're going to spend a good bit of time in that service in prayer together for our church and just preparing for that period. And then the other way that we have really engaged has been the prayer walks. And so you've already heard we're doing another one in July. The time for that, we're tentatively saying, is 3 p.m. because the deacons have a meeting at 5, and we need to have enough time to fit those things in. Now, let me say this. We are going to Remington subdivision, which is right here. There's about 50 houses. Christian and I kind of drove through and did a little prayer drive through there today, and we counted homes, and there's roughly 50 houses there. We do have a little bit of common sense. We understand July, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 50 homes, it's probably going to be hot. We may not be able to tackle the whole thing, but if you can come and help us, we had a great turnout for the one that we did at Johnson Farms. We had, about 15, maybe 20 people. And when you have that many, it really allows us to break up and spread out. And, if we can each cover about 10 homes, then you can get it done in a decent amount of time. But we have seen God work in some really neat ways every time that we've gone out. And we've really, I think, just been pleasantly surprised at how well received, we have been. Sure, we would love to go out and do these prayer walks and outreach events and just the next Sunday come back and see a whole, pew of people filled here. And we still believe that God can and will do that. But, we are planting seeds for the gospel in our community. And you know, there was a time when I was kind of hesitant to say, oh, that's kind of old fashioned. People don't want you going and knocking on their door. But, you know, we might be the only presence of Jesus to come to a household. And there's many of these households that, you know, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt have the devil's there, you know, and sin is there and all kinds of things like that. So why not, you know, go instead of just always playing defense, why don't we play offense? Why don't we go out there and take it to the people? So that just want to encourage you again. We're after the month of July, then we're going to kind of try to get back into that rhythm of doing that the last Sunday of each month. So if you know of a neighborhood that you'd like to see us go and cover, let me know or Pastor Christian know, and we'll get it on our list because we're kind of building that in to be a monthly thing. On the 15th of August, we'll have our next visitors lunch. We're going to include the softball team in that, and so that'll be another great outreach opportunity as well. Fourth goal is about sabbatical, and the Sabbatical Planning team did a fantastic job telling you what we've been working on. Lee Childs met with us, with the church staff on June the 24th. We met for about 4 hours just going through different things that we needed to do to get ready for that. So I feel very good about where we are with sabbaticals. We're in the short rows, and I'm still trying to, you know, it's hard to kind of, you know, Leonard has said, I think what I would just say amen to about everybody stepping up, because it's hard to get all the bases covered. You know, when you think about all that the pastor does in the church, trying to make sure that none of those things go missing or go without being done, and make sure that everybody kind of is at least reasonably trained in the deacons and the staff. And so it's been a little bit of a stressful and daunting task just thinking about that. And I think it'll still be a challenge, you know, when Monday morning, August the 16th rolls around, for me to just let it go. And I think that's why it is important for pastor and church to both have sabbatical, is to have that opportunity for the pastor to be able to let go and to not have his hands in and on everything for a little while, and for the church to be able to then appreciate what their pastor does and all of the things that people may sometimes just naturally we all take for granted, you don't necessarily realize. So just we're continually being prayerful about that process and leading up to sabbatical. Any questions about our church goals for 2021? Before you know it, we'll be working on 2022 goals. It'll be here before we know it. All right, just a few reports that I want to give. The first one is the report from the Matthews Scholarship Committee. So in the month of June, we made it available, a nomination period for folks to nominate members of our church for the Matthews Scholarship. This is Linwood and Betty Matthews Scholarship. We had 2 nominations to come before our committee. Those were for Christian Justice and for Reverend Jim Deese. They are both currently enrolled in Masters of Divinity programs. And so that scholarship committee, which consists of myself, Jason Lemons, and Ronnie Parton, come tonight to recommend that both of those fine men receive a $300 scholarship each from the Matthews Scholarship Fund for the academic year 2021-2022. And so we come for that to be voted on by the church per our bylaws.
All right, team, we have a motion, but this is not a standing committee, so it will require a second. Do we have a second? Looks like we got one from Ken Edwards in the back there. He beat you to it. That way, if it goes wrong, it's on him. Any questions or discussion on the scholarship award to these 2 gentlemen? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. And chair, the ayes have it. Congratulations, sir. Mr. Dietz. Reverend.
I want to circle back and just thank our music ministry, particularly Gladys and Furman, our instrumentalists, for the wonderful worship that we had last Sunday. I think you may have heard that at one time we were planning to have the U.S. Army band come in. That kind of fell through fairly last minute, so they really had to step up and prepare. And as Devin said, also the handbells that we had recently were wonderful, and so we are very grateful to all of them. I want to echo, I went for half a week to Passport. My brain has still not recovered from that. I feel like I'm still been run over by a truck, so I have a new admiration for Christian and all that he does. But, I think that just speaks volume for his love for our youth, because if one of them, wanted to talk with me at 2 a.m, I would tell them they need to go talk with Jesus and see me tomorrow. But he made time for them, and I think that just shows how invested he really is in their lives. And it is, I just echo what he said about us having a tremendous group of youth. It's growing. It's a thriving ministry, and I'm just so proud of how our church has invested in that. And sees the value in, even though camp is really expensive. I mean, it is thousands and thousands of dollars for just 1 week. And, I really would not argue with anybody who would say, that's too much money to spend on 1 week. But our church we've never gotten any pushback on that. In fact, we have people who come to us every year and say, if there's a student who wants to go that doesn't have the means, please let me know. And I mean, people are willing to put up hundreds of dollars to make that happen. And so that's just a blessing. That's a sign of a good, healthy church that believes in the mission of God. Even seeing the money that we raised for Kaylee, really $1,000 over what was needed, and just being that generous in short order, again, I think is just a testament to what God is doing through our church. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. Just a few things that I want to just have on your radar, and then I'll be finished. The first is, and I may have very briefly mentioned this before, but I'm excited about a cooperative effort of it's Neill's Creek, Anger Baptist, Kennebec Baptist, and Anthem Church in Anger. So it's all Baptist churches in Anger. And then the Little River Baptist Association is also partnering with us on this. And it's an initiative called Anger Hope. Anger Hope. And it is going to be a website and kind of a social media campaign aimed at saturating our whole community with the gospel. And so we hope that by this time next year, or well before this time, you would start seeing some promotional things about Anger Hope that would direct people to this website. Hope is just a click away, and you would see there not only a clear presentation of the gospel, you're going to see some information highlighting each of our churches. So if someone is new to the area and they want to find a church to worship in, they're going to see what we believe are 4 of the best churches in our area to be able to showcase. And then they're going to receive some very practical. We're going to be doing some practical helps regarding parenting, marriage, mental health topics. Do you remember any of the others that we talked about today, Christian? Those are just some of the kind of main things that we'll be starting on this initial run. So our church and our deacons have committed some funds to the amount of $2,500. In fact, all of those churches are doing that amount, and the Little River Association is matching that. That's really startup costs. That covers a lot of different things of creating this platform by which we're going to do this. And, we thought about maybe having a tent revival. We thought about maybe doing mailers, and we just felt like that this was the best bang for our buck, because if you create this website and we put this content up, it's up there 24/7. So anybody, anywhere around the world can access this if they go to the Anger Hope website, and then we will be working to maintain that and keep that fresh. And so I think that will be a very exciting thing, and it's going to help reach a lot of people who may never come and step foot in an actual physical church. I mean, we've seen in the COVID era in the last year or so what a dynamic presence virtual church and virtual ministry is, and this will definitely put it out there, and I think it'll save a lot of people, and I think it will bring very real practical help to people. And the cool thing is they're going to be hearing from pastors right here in their own community. They're not just going to be hearing from a Charles Stanley or a David Jeremiah or some big name pastor off somewhere. It's going to be a real face, a real name from someone right here in their own community. And the cool thing is we hope that this will be a model that can be replicated in other communities. I mean, literally certainly this is groundbreaking. It's, to our knowledge, it's never been done before, that a group of churches would come together and put together an effort like this and then trust that, hey, God is going to use us to reach people, and we believe that there will be enough people reached that all of our churches will grow and benefit as a result. And so instead of us being in competition with each other, we are really cooperating to do a great kingdom work, and we're excited about that. I just want to echo everything that Nikki said about Vacation Bible School. Let's since we were not able to do it last year, let's make this like doubly good. Let's make this like 2 years worth of energy into one, and let's really give our best for these kids. Ladles of Love, I just want to update you a little bit on that. First of all, thank you to all of you who in some way, shape, or form participated or volunteered or just stopped by over July 4th holiday. It was a good event. I think they were able to connect with a lot of people, and I'm just glad our church had a big role in that. Right now, so one thing that they have had really over the last year has been a struggle with keeping a cook, a part-time cook, to prepare the food. So one thing that we are doing to partner with Ladles of Love is we are taking some Tuesdays and Thursdays where just people in the Neill's Creek church family are providing some meals and carrying up there for them to then serve on those days. The thing that they have seen is that really, you know, on any given day, they might have 12 to 30 people. And so when you're not cooking for a huge crowd, that's a doable thing. You know, Melissa and I cooked for Tuesday, and we carried chicken salad and pimento cheese. Miss Judy Adams made a pasta salad, and Miss Carolyn Bradwell made a cranberry salad, and that was enough for them to serve lunch for 2 whole days off of that. So, I mean, think about lasagna in the winter, chili, chicken pastry, things like that. Any kind of a casserole, chicken pot pie that can be stretched and feed a lot of people are great ideas. So if that's something that you would be willing or interested in doing and cooking a meal for them periodically, please let me know. We're getting the schedule together and trying to make that happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays for them. And we do have some benevolence funds here at the church. So again, we don't expect you to go out and just purchase all that, you know, all that food that you would be using. We can make arrangements to have the funds available for you to go buy what you need to prepare the food and then just get that to them. And our WMU has been helping to provide desserts and cookies and things like that to them for a while, and we're grateful for that. For deacon election, again, that's coming up the 8th of August, so we will make the eligible members list available. I believe it's on the 25th of July, and then we'll make the absentee ballots 1 week before on August the 1st, and then we'll have election on the 8th. The only other thing I wanted to say, two things to close. First is that we will resume our full schedule of Wednesday night activities on Wednesday, September the 8th. September the 8th will be, that starts for children, youth, and adults. And Dr. Lee Childs is going to be leading the Wednesday night time in here for adults at 6 o'clock like we've been doing on Wednesday nights. He will not be here on that opening night. He's going to be down at Caswell actually leading a retreat that Melissa and I will be at. So we will be having time with Dr. Lee before you all do. But after that, after the 8th, he will be here the rest of those Wednesday nights of the sabbatical period. All right, final note that I want to share, and this is just a little bit of, I guess you just have to call it a pet peeve of mine. But I want to talk a little bit about our attention when someone walks out of the sanctuary. So we know that since we lock our doors for safety reasons, that people, you know, when they need to go to the restroom or to the nursery or for whatever, they have to go out the sides because they can't go out because then they'd be locked out of the building. So look, we know that happens, and I don't ever want anyone to feel like that you know, if they need to get up, obviously getting up right in the middle of my sermon is not an ideal time, but if you have to, you have to. I'm never going to be mad or upset at somebody doing that. What is a little frustrating is when everybody then looks at the person who's going out and watches them go all the way out the door, just like we've never seen somebody walk out of a door before. And the frustrating part is I know that I've lost you for that time. I mean, I could be saying pig Latin during that time, and you totally tuned me out, okay? So just help me with that. I know we all have that natural human tendency. When we see movement, it's going to catch our attention, but just try as best you can to mentally check yourself. All right, I need to refocus back on the pastor. I don't have to stare the hole through this person's back as they're walking out the door. Because it is, I'll admit, it's frustrating, when I'm in my sermon and I'm really going, and then I see everybody's attention just turn, and look at somebody walking out. So just help me with that, and we'll be good. So, yeah. But again, I had to say that about 3 times before it even registered with people what I was saying, because they tune out. They don't hear it at all. So. Do what? Yeah, don't follow them out with the camera. That's right. Any other questions, comments on what I presented? Not? Okay, all right, thank you.
Special thank you to the guys up top, Tracy, Floyd. Thank you so much for getting this set up tonight. Appreciate all that you do. You can't thank you guys enough for all the work you put in. Make sure you give yourself a double pay raise next year. Any other questions or comments from the body? Any announcements that need to come before us? Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Carr.
People who have been staying home because of COVID, and we understand that. But if you know somebody, how about dropping them a note?
So the comment is, if you know someone that has been staying home due to COVID, drop them a note and let them know you're thinking about them.
And if you miss them, so we're back in church now. We're good to see you.
We have the cards and envelopes.
Yeah, cards and envelopes are available. There's some in the office. I believe there's some on the table right outside the office here. And if you can't find them there, our Sunday school class upstairs has a box of envelopes and a box of cards in it. So if you need some, see Lee. She'll be happy to get them for you. New job, new responsibilities. If you are an usher, please keep in mind that we are back to doing passing the plate again during our services. So if you're an usher, please check your schedule and make sure of your time and date. If you can't be here, that's okay. Just let myself know, let the pastor know, or just call the office and let us know if you can't be there so we can make sure we get some folks to fill in for that Sunday. It is summer. We're all traveling, but we need to find 4 or 5 folks to fill in. Be good to know a little ahead of time to know how many folks we got to plan for.
We do have team leaders, usher team leaders, so they all be.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Y'all necessarily, but, yeah.
Still trying to get them back in the group.
Yeah. And some of them, we're still trying to get them back in the building. All righty. Any others? Furman, any finance before we head out? Leonard, Alex, Glenn, thank you. Can't say enough. You guys have done a fantastic job in planning along with the pastor. Feel like we're in pretty good shape. At this time, it would be proper for us to have a closing prayer. Let's see. Alex, you want to close us out tonight?
Heavenly Father, it is good to be in your house, even to listen to the programming and the goals and the financial business we have at the church, Lord. We just pray that you would open our hearts and minds to hear how that you speak to us. Lord, we pray that you would help us to experience your presence. We know that you were always with us, whether it be for a vacation Bible school service, or a Sunday morning sermon, or a half-year business conference, Lord. If we gather in your name, your presence is with us. We pray that you would open our hearts to feel and experience you in the way that you are moving with us. We pray that you would go with us now, be with those that are not able to be with us tonight for various different reasons. We pray that you would keep us safe and bring us back on Sunday. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Without further, I do ask that we all be adjourned, and thank you.